Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be a different commentary. Now, this is not really Airsoft gameplay, but this is your mainstream Airsoft videos. This is a video from Wag Entertainment. If you're not aware of him, he's probably the biggest Airsoft YouTuber, if not one of them. Makes a lot of videos, but they're more, I don't want to say clickbaity, but they're more like titles of like, oh, the 5 best versus the 5 worst Airsoft guns. Less like in the sport specifically, on like not specifically like on like particular gear, etc. More kind of like general airsoft topics. A lot of them just people who are not actually in airsoft find very, very interesting. So I thought, you know what, as a bit of a different one, let's take a look at one of his videos. He has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and I think he does very, very well. Very good on camera, and the one that I saw that just popped up has got 63,000 views in a day, and this is I tested 5 airsoft guns in brackets again. So we're gonna have a look at this. I'll pause it, I'll stop. Let's have a look at the airsoft guns that he discovers and kind of get my thoughts on it as well. And hopefully this is interesting for you guys. But I always want to know, do you like the gameplay more? Do you like this style more? We did a great gameplay of me when I talked over it, which a lot of people seem to really like. So I'm gonna try and do a few more of those. But this is another test. Let's see what this one does. Okay, so this is our guy Wag. As I said, yeah, 1.15 million subscribers. This is a 60,000 view video. So let's start it at the very beginning.
Types of airsoft guns against each other to find the best one. We're going to be starting out with a $25 Desert Eagle with 51 reviews rated 5 stars. And throughout the video, we're going up all the way to an M4 with 464 reviews.
So this looks like it's on Amazon
as well. And in today's video, we're going to be using my newly improved rating system. To no surprise, you don't get much in the box, besides some BBs and a little tiny cheap instruction manual. But that's not a really big surprise, as this one is a very cheap airsoft pistol, only coming in at $25. But it does a pretty good job fooling you from afar with this.
Okay, so I thought that was like a WE gas blowback one. I think it's the same like Cybergun boxing, but for $25 is going to be spring. I can't imagine it's very good. $25 is very cheap.
Silver paint hiding its cheap externals, and in theory is a 1:1 scale size of the real Desert Eagle. So it does look pretty realistic from afar at least, but getting a little bit closer you could definitely see some of the flaws of this one. And feeling it definitely does not make you think it is a high quality.
Yeah, see Cybergun on there, super plastic
pistol at all. This is the KWC Desert Eagle, fully licensed by Israel Military Industries. It is fully made up of a ABS plastic construction, and to no surprise doesn't come with many features.
See how light it
is one at least to note. It looks like you have a safety, but it of course does not work. Oh wait, it does. Wow, safety actually works. Never mind. I was wrong to judge, And if you are curious,
but that's not the safety on the real replica. The safety is actually right there above on the upper slide. That's the slide release. So it's got a working safety? Not really.
This does come with a 28 round little magazine. It is pretty weird though. Taking this magazine out with gloves,
safety's on the top there. So that's the slide release.
Gonna work. I have to like use my teeth.
Splitting in the bottom.
Got it out. It's like so like slippery and slimy feeling. It's a weird magazine. And if you haven't guessed it at this point, it is a spring action pistol.
Oh yeah.
Our goal for today's video is to find the best of the best. So we're going to be putting all of the airsoft guns in today's video into a little bit of a competition. Each airsoft gun will be rated on 5 different categories. We have the chrono and FPS reading,
So prediction right now, this chrono and FPS is going to be very, very low. Accuracy is going to be very, very low.
Accuracy, of course, the range,
again, very low, and quality,
and externals, basically the overall quality of it, and of course, all of those things considered the value for money. Then, of course, we're going to add up and give each airsoft gun a
value for money
score out of 25 stars. So at the end of the video, we're going to have an official worst to best list. Starting the pistol off with the first category, the FPS.
What are we guessing? I'm thinking maybe 150.
It wasn't much. Yikes.
Not even.
Really? That low? Yikes. Whoa.
How's this got 5 stars?
Terrible. Damn, it's like 80 FPS with 0.20s. That's not a good start. Well, hopefully the range or accuracy surprises us. Alrighty, we got 0.20s loaded up and we are 50 feet away. This should not be a challenge for this guy.
What? It's going to be a challenge.
Nice. Alright. With the iron sights directly at the target, we are not even hitting at 50 feet away.
It doesn't seem
Let's
as
go
a
to
hop
about
up.
35 feet and see if that helps. There we go.
Quite a cool target.
Ooh, almost a bullseye. Not the worst accuracy, but of course we are only 30 feet
Never
away.
play an airsoft game with that.
Now let's go on to the ratings. FPS is a 1 out of 5.
Yep.
Accuracy is a 3 out of 5.
What?
Range a 1 out of 5. No surprise there. Quality is a 2 out of 5, and the value for the money overall a 3 out of 5 because it is the cheapest one of the video.
Wouldn't agree with the
Overall
accuracy.
Score 10 out of 25. Next up, as you can tell, we're not really increasing in size very much, but definitely on the price tag and the reviews. This little submachine gun is the JG Scorpion R2 VZ-61. It costs $88 and has a...
So I've got the KWC-61, which is the gas blowback version. It's awesome. It's amazing, and it's probably about $300. So it's probably gonna be a lot better than this one's my prediction.
114 reviews and of course rated 5 stars. And surprisingly for the...
Who rated that last one 5 stars? I mean, like $25. I mean, that's probably the person who buys that to go to a party or just as like a backyard thing who's never played airsoft ever, because I don't know any airsofter that would ever rate that 5 stars.
The price tag, the unboxing experience is actually one of the best in the video. You get nice graphics on the actual box itself, and in the box you get some bonus stuff and everything you need. This little guy is classified as a AEP, which stands...
So JG as well used to make some really good stuff. They used to be like the Cymo when I first started playing. They would copy everything Tokyo Marui did and basically pump out like cheaper versions of it, which were fairly good quality, not like Tokyo Marui, but fairly good. Obviously, this is an AEP, so this is going to be based on an electric pistol is what they're going to call it. So I can imagine it making a horrible noise. That's my prediction.
Stands for Airsoft Electric Pistol. That's right, everyone. This guy is fully electric. So it's a little confusing. Is this thing technically a submachine gun or technically a pistol? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And a little fun fact, this is a 100% exact clone of the Tokyo Marui Scorpion, which retails for $240.
Exact clone of the Tokyo Marui Scorpion.
$40, making this one basically a third of the price. So is this a deal of the century and you just don't get those Tokyo Marui trades, or is there a reason it's a third of the price? That's what we're here to test out. Before we test the performance, let's go on to some of my favorite highlighted features. The blast finish heavyweight upper receiver definitely makes this one feel way more high quality than I was expecting. Very solid for the price. It has metal made lower die casting, a metal folding stock, and even an adjustable hop up, making this one definitely competitive for the price. Let's go ahead and rip off this barrel cap and now take it to some of the tests. First up, let's start with the...
Didn't show us what battery that takes. I'm presuming it's a LiPo because it's got to be something pretty small, but...
chronograph test. It was, of course, shooting higher FPS than the last pistol, but that's not necessarily a compliment.
I'll take it, 228.
Not the highest FPS I've ever seen, but at least it's consistent.
Super consistent.
Let's try the RPS. Wasn't expecting anything crazy with a 7.2 volt battery. That's that small.
There we go, 7.2 volt battery. That's probably why. But that noise I just can't get over, and that kind of thing should be fast firing at an incredibly fast rate of fire. Fact. No, don't have it with me. I was going to give you a little like test on that one.
But the FPS is definitely a little bit of a letdown. This definitely makes me a little bit worried for the actual shooting test, because low FPS is going to mean this guy's going to struggle at some further ranges. But maybe it potentially
low FPS, but it's built for like close quarters. So
we're
280
start out at a measly 50 feet away.
That noise.
So you definitely can hit some headshots at this distance, but it's not very consistent whatsoever. Now we are 100 feet away, going for the maximum accuracy range. Let's see how this goes. I'm giving all the airsoft guns in today's video a little bit of slack because it is really windy today, as you could tell from the vegetation flying like a little party. It's getting the BBs to the target, but the accuracy is pretty bad. 75 feet away is definitely a little bit more doable for this one. I'd say the effective range of this one is probably about 75 feet. You can stretch it to 100, maybe 150 feet away, but you're definitely going to be stretching it way past its limits. I think definitely the best use case scenario is probably going to be using this as a pistol. Maybe to a secondary of a sniper rifle or something like that, just so you could spray on full auto if your enemies get too close. But using this as a primary for a submachine gun loadout in a CQB field, probably wouldn't recommend. recommend. Now let's do our final score for the Scorpion. This one did a lot better than I thought it was going to do. The biggest things knocking it down was the low FPS, and that also held back the range a lot. And the accuracy left a little bit to be desired. But for the price, I thought the value was really solid.
I'd say value's
overall,
good
giving
on
this one a
I'd agree
17 out of 25. This next airsoft gun you probably don't see every day on the field. This is the H&K G36C Competition Series by Umarex. It's definitely going to be challenging.
So competition's going to mean cheap, basically.
Challenging this video to actually have a nicer unboxing experience than the
345 FPS, 400 round magazine, which means it's coming with a Hi-Capa, which means it's not going to be exactly built to be the best on the field, let's say that.
Previous airsoft gun, but this one definitely doesn't do a bad job. H&K always has a decent experience. Oh wow, it actually comes with a battery. Did not expect that. Despite its pretty nice looks from afar, the plastic didn't really impress me. But it does at least justify that little bit of a questionable quality with the plastic with a budget-friendly price tag at $169.95 and holds a modest 128 reviews with a 5-star rating. The only thing hiding the low external feel is those H&K trademarks. It definitely makes it at least look a little bit more high quality, but as you probably guessed, the receiver, front grip, stock, and motor grip are all made of a ABS polymer. Sometimes,
I mean, the actual thing's polymer, so I don't think it would matter that much on this.
Sometimes they do knock out of the box, and the quality does feel good with this polymer, but this one was not one of those ones. But thankfully, it does at least come equipped with full metal internal parts and gearbox. So at least we still have a little bit of hope with the actual performance. Of course, if you're not too familiar with this platform, it comes with all the G36 goodies, like the top rail for optics, the integrated front and rear adjustable iron sights, and of course that classic folding skeleton stock. And here's a fun fact about the magazine as well.
Link them together.
Extra G36 magazines, these little clips right here will actually attach to other G36 clips right here for another magazine, so you can actually take them and put them together like that to have a dual magazine setup.
So I actually used to do that. One of my first airsoft guns, I think it was a JG G36C actually, and I used to do that with it. It's kind of pointless. I would run like Hi-Caps, or I think it was Hi-Caps at the time, so 2 400 round Hi-Caps attached to each other. It was really a pointless thing. I've thought about getting one of these, like a gas blowback version, because I kind of want one. It's just a different looking kind of cool thing, but I've kind of held back. So if you guys think I should do that and do a review video, let me know.
This is the first one in the video that is a full-scale rifle, so in theory we should have some good FPS. Okay, so the FPS isn't the worst,
that's fine.
But it's not the best. For rifles, I want to see that maybe 350 to 400 FPS mark.
Cheap AEG though.
Getting between 11.5 and 11.7 rounds a second.
Standard
and guessing with the crazier
gun.
battery, it might shoot pretty insane. Let's actually test it out. Upgrade, baby.
You gonna handle that?
Yeah, a little bit faster with the 11.1 volt.
Should you run an 11.1 on it?
This is a rifle after all, so this is where it should shine, on the performance tests. First up, let's go test it out at 75 feet with a headshot test.
Yeah, that's fine. What was the price on this one?
Alright, we are now 150 feet away. It's going to be a little challenging in today's video just because the wind is pretty violent today, but let's see how it goes.
They're lobbing it. The hop-up doesn't look too bad.
Ooh! Only took a couple shots to get that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
What the heck?
It's because you put the 11.1 in it. Screwed it.
There we go, that's weird. As you can see, no issues hitting the target at 150 feet away. The only thing with this guy is the hop up is maxed out on the max hop setting. It's gonna be really difficult with this wind, as you could hear. Not the most calm day for weather conditions. I'm guessing this guy can hit this range, but I'm gonna have to aim super high to the upper right to combat the wind, and obviously the hop up being maxed out as well. Bruh. That was like my first try. Actually, not bad for this guy. I'd say the main thing holding this one back is the hop-up capacity. You're going to be kind of limited for your range. I'd say about 150 to 175 feet away. But honestly, pretty impressive. Sometimes it just doesn't want to shoot. It's really weird. Yeah, that definitely didn't help our ratings, but it still was okay. This one was a little hard to rate. I had to kind of use some decimals in this one. Overall, here are the ratings. I used a lot of 3.75 and a lot of 3.5 ratings. The main thing that took it down was the quality of the externals. And I'd be a little bit afraid of the long-term quality for the internals with a really strong battery. But overall, it has pretty good value, and I overall rated it 18 out of 25 stars. Not bad. Okay, now we're going up in size. Check this guy out. This is the A&K SVD Dragunov sniper rifle. We've gotten the fortunate chance to test a few gas blowback SVDs on the channel, but this puppy is the first one on the channel that's fully electric. Not only do we have a big size increase with this one, we also have a nice healthy increase in the amount of reviews and of course the price tag. This SVD has 142 reviews, of course rated 5 stars, and has a $214.95 price tag. The unboxing experience was pretty much what you'd expect, nothing too crazy. Except for these. What are those? Those aren't even BBs. Maybe one of those like silicone things like broke apart. That is exactly weird. But look at this bad boy. The only thing I didn't like was the crazy amount of scratches on the top of the receiver. Let's go over some of the features before we check out the performance. It comes with a full metal construction. Basically, the only thing not full metal with this one is the imitation wood handguard and stock system. It of course comes with those SVD classic goodies like the adjustable sniper cheek riser and the adjustable rear leaf sight. And I know this is weird, but because it is a AEG, it is fully automatic and semi-automatic as well. According to the website, it also has a full metal, fully LiPo-ready gearbox. Also, some other small things to mention before we get into the performance testing. It does have an adjustable hop-up, which you would definitely hope with a sniper rifle, and a pretty insane capacity for the magazine. This little guy can hold 180 rounds. Yeah, a little bit more than your average sniper rifle. Let's now go to the performance testing and see how this one shapes up. This one is a AEG after all, but it's technically a sniper rifle, so I really hope this performs better than that G36. Yeah, the battery space is not the best, and this is the only Tamiya Connector 11.1 I have, so don't judge me too much.
At least that one's got a fuse, see?
Damn, this magazine does not want to feed.
410.
What is going on with this mag?
I mean, it's hot for being an AEG, and it's not that hot for being a sniper rifle. A little bit more inconsistent than I'd want for a sniper rifle, but not too bad. Looks like we're going up and down about 3 FPS per shot. And now for the RPS. Surprisingly, the sniper rifle is gonna probably have the highest one of the video. Damn! This guy has to have the worst mechanism I've ever seen to load up a magazine. For the life of me, I cannot get this open. This is insane. I'd use a screwdriver. Never have a Hi-Capa for a magazine for a sniper rifle.
Damn! About 18 rounds a second for a sniper rifle. I've definitely seen worse. That's not too bad. Yeah. And of course, the magazine is definitely not feeding up whatsoever. So
they wouldn't let you use that as a sniper. It would be firing hot at 400. And then they wouldn't let you use it at full auto as a sniper, would they? You want it firing at 500 on semi with a low capacity magazine.
Shot a couple BBs. Come on, work. All right. You guys get the idea. I'm trying to hold this as best I can and still forcing the magazine into the magwell as hard as I can to get the BBs to feed up every now and then. But it does, I guess, have an okay grouping at 75 feet, despite all the chaos. All right, back to 150 feet. Let's see how this does.
It's even firing.
That wind is crazy.
It sounds like it's not firing. Is that bent? Look at the like warp on it.
All right. Not bad.
Like the handrail's like cracking open.
All right, the magic 200 feet away. Let's see if this guy will even feed and get to the target. Man, this thing makes you want to throw it off the bridge. Yeah, this inconsistent feeding with me like jamming this up is not getting fun. Hey! Okay, we got a lucky little burst right there. Honestly, if this thing were shooting properly and I wasn't about to bash my head in because of this feeding issue, I think this guy could actually hit maybe 225, maybe even further than that. At that point, it's basically just limited by the FPS. So here are the final rankings for the SVD. The strongest one with this was definitely the range. The accuracy was fine too, and the FPS was a little bit to be desired, but nothing bad. But then when it came to the quality, I definitely had some issues with the magazine system basically breaking, so that definitely took it down some awesome points. Counting it up, the
Value
total
3.
is 16.5 out of 25 stars. Up next is one of the most popular airsoft pistols ever made. I've been
Hi-Capa.
seeing these bad boys on my local field for many, many years. I'm pretty sure I used to have one of these actually almost 10 years ago. Odds are you or someone you've known that's been into airsoft has owned one of these in their airsoft career. This is the WeTech 5.1 Hi-Capa gas bullback pistol. It comes in at $120 and has a respectable 172 reviews, rated of course 5 stars.
WeTech make good
Straight
stuff.
away, the unboxing experience is nothing to write home about, but basically what you'd expect for a basic gas bullback pistol. You get this bad boy wrapped up in some plastic, a gas bullback magazine, and some BBs. This at its core is a...
I'd say WeTech is very like product dependent. Pistols that they do generally are pretty good. You can get some WeTech rifles that they do which are not good at all, but I would say for like kind of their weight of the realism in terms of the feel, they're often quite like good fun firing things. They may not last the longest time. It's my experience.
Pretty basic gas black pistol, but it does have some fun features. So let's talk about those, and then we'll go ahead and go to the performance tests. It has a full metal rail striker head for accessory attachments, which is this thingy. Personally, not my favorite design. It has a skeleton slide, hammer, and a trigger for a faster response and lightweight feel. It also has something called a high impact palmer grip, which is this bad boy. Not my favorite feeling ever, but it does the job. And last but not least, a full metal frame and slide with forward cocking serration. Not exactly sure what that word means, but it sounds fancy. And if you are curious, the magazine holds 30 rounds. Forward cocking
serration, it'll be the serrations at the front of the barrel to let you cock it from the front.
Let's get straight into the chronograph and see how it does.
It doesn't have that, so.
Throughout the magazine,
pretty much where it should
going
be.
down FPS quite a bit, but you have to expect a little bit of that with a gas black pistol. And as far as the FPS goes, about pretty much where I'd want, about that 200 FPS mark for a pistol. 50-foot headshot test, let's see how it does. Yeah, that's easy. Let's stroll all the way up to about 100 feet away and see if we can get some maximum accuracy and show you guys what this thing can really do.
Looks like he's not aiming at that at all. If he's using 0.2 gram BBs.
As you guys can see with the iron sights, I'm aiming way over here because of the wind, but it is actually getting some pretty consistent results. But now here...
The thing with it is if it's a windy day, I don't know why he would do like range tests with a 0.2. I mean, I know with the cheaper, like worse pistols, it's going to be hard, but most people are not going to use 0.2 gram BBs. They'd probably choose a 0.25 as like the base minimum and then do the FPS rating and that on that. And then if you want to correlate the FPS down to a 0.2, then that's probably, I would say, the easiest way to do it, because a 0.2 gram BB in that wind at that range is going to be pretty bad on any rifle you're using it on.
For the real beans, let's try 150 feet away. Ooh! We hit it, boys! Here is the final ratings for the 5.1 Hi-Capa. Overall, pretty good value. Definitely a little bit of a bigger FPS drop than I want, knocking off some points. And overall, just a little bit of points missing for the quality, but nothing too much. Overall, with a pretty modest score of 19.5 out of 25 stars. Continuing our theme of weird pieces on the end of the airsoft gun, we have this one. This one has a pretty crazy name. This is the 6mm Pro Shop Swordfish K PDW MP5K. We're only going to increase a few reviews from the last one. This one has 177 reviews and comes in at $230. At first, this one seems all fun and games.
Right, the problem for me already is how you're going to remove that orange tip. Like, that thing is literally part of the compensator, which means you basically need to throw that compensator away unless you're going to try and paint it, and it's going to look really bad either way. So you might as well just go for a regular looking MP5. Until you find out about that horrendous battery space. That is definitely straight away my least favorite part about this one. I mean, what are you even supposed to do with that? For the price point, pretty basic box and of course unboxing experience. You do get pretty much everything you would expect in the package, like the magazine and the airsoft gun and the manual of course, but there was one thing I definitely was not expecting. Looks like you have like a little metal part with some screws in that little weird bag. I thought it was a bag of
For a sec, I was a little worried. Still have no idea what that even is. Of course, the first thing you notice with this airsoft gun is the aggressive Swordfish rail and muzzle kit pre-installed. According to the website I bought it from, it gives it a unique, intimidating, and futuristic look. Unique is definitely one word to use with this one. In my opinion, it just definitely looks terrible. But that's my objective opinion. I'm curious what you guys think in the comments down below. But other than that weird feature, it at least has some pretty cool ones as well. The Swordfish upper rail system is full metal. It of course has that iconic MP5K integrated vertical support grip, that awesome classic folding stock, a working mock charging handle, but definitely not working too well. The charging handle does not want to stay up in the upward placement.
I love working mock, as in like it doesn't do anything, but it has a spring in there so you can pull it back.
Right there. That's not ideal. An ambidextrous selector switch, and surprisingly a 65 round mid-cap magazine that seems pretty high quality. That's what the actual website said, but this is not a mid-cap magazine. Really weird. This is definitely a high-cap magazine with the wheel down at the bottom and a huge area in the top to put BBs. The website definitely got that wrong. Little fun fact for you. This is a compact submachine gun, which is pretty awesome for CQB, but that does mean the barrel is pretty small, even about the same size as a pistol. So I'm not expecting anything crazy for the performance, but who knows, maybe it'll surprise us.
It's hot.
Damn, that is really high FPS. Over 400 with the MP5K? Damn. That's
the problem with this is you're not going to be able to use it in a CQB environment, and that's kind of what this thing is going to be meant for. You need that firing at like less than 400 definitely. Probably I would want it more around 350. So that's going to need some work basically to make it good to go in a CQB field.
It's way more than I thought. Definitely really consistent as well, but consistently over 400 FPS, which is not ideal for a CQB airsoft gun. Let's see the RPS now.
Right. Yeah, and the RPS isn't great.
All right, 12.3 is not the worst, but let's try with the 11.1 volt.
That's fine. You'd have to run it 11.1.
Damn! Almost 18 rounds a second with this little guy. This is a submachine gun after all, so we're going to start the headshot test at about 50 feet and then kind of work our way back to see what this guy can really do in such a small platform.
To turn the hop up.
Yep, no issues whatsoever at 50 feet away. But that's of course just where the challenges begin for this little guy. We're gonna go back to 100 feet like we are right now and then keep going back by 50-foot increments. Because of the crazy FPS this one, I think this one has some potential to shoot pretty damn far. And we did some testing with the hop up and it looks to have some pretty insane potential. So who knows, we might be able to shoot 200 feet away with this one. But that is of course if the accuracy keeps being fine, because this is a tiny barrel after all. Feet away, no huge issues yet. Wow. Definitely not bad. It's basically shooting like a full-scale rifle with just a little bit of accuracy concerns, but nothing too bad for the size of the barrel. All right, now we are past 200 feet away. Let's see how it does. Damn. I don't even know how far we are now, boys. We are off the grid, baby.
You're hitting like 1 out of 10 shots, so it's not really like consistent accuracy at that.
Had to do it. Sometimes the trigger doesn't want to like go back in its normal position. It gets stuck backwards. It's kind of weird.
That would be so annoying. Battery dies.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure it's getting to that range pretty easily. And the BBs are still over-hopping a tiny bit. I don't even think I have the hop-up turned up like halfway either. Pretty damn impressive for the hop-up system with the FPS pairing up. We definitely...
Cyber make good stuff. Like, I would say for the price point, Cyber's probably going to be one of the best out there for what you're paying. You know, if you want to start your airsoft gun, Cyber's going to be great all day. So if you're looking for that from this video, I wouldn't necessarily go for that version, but you can definitely go and find some Cyber rifles that are phenomenal.
Get a pretty insane range for such a small little airsoft gun.
And now for the ratings.
Straight away, going from the range test, yeah, that's a 5 out of 5. But the issue is with the FPS is that's kind of too high for most CQB fields.
So that's why I
discounted it quite a bit. And the charging handle kind of sucks as well and had some weird issues with the trigger. But other than that,
so quality should drop.
Pretty decent. I know, kind of a weird score, but everything else considered, it is a 20.25 out of 25 stars.
For the next Airsoft gun up, we're definitely shrinking in size and going right back to the budget-friendly pistol section of Airsoft guns. But don't be fooled by this one's size and the price. This one definitely has some nice reviews. Increasing with this one the total amount of reviews to 194, and coming in at almost half the price of that MP5K at only $119. For this pistol model, this is KJW's newest release of the 1911 platform. This is the KJ Customs 1911 Tactical Hi-Capa, and this one is the CO2 version. For the unboxing experience, it's basically what you expect, very similar to that first Hi-Capa.
So CO2 is always going to fire hotter than green gas, so I expect this as well could have a very high FPS is my rating.
But the big thing I liked is actually the trigger feel versus that last pistol. It's way more faster action and also has a heavier feel as well. Way more realistic and way more satisfying to shoot. Now going into the features, it's equipped with a full metal slide and lower rail, a hard polymer genuine Koba grip and trigger frame. It has reinforced internals suitable for use with green gas, red gas, or CO2. In theory, stronger internals than most gas-solid pistols. But of course, the words the website uses to market it to you and the actual performance are two separate things sometimes. So let's go ahead and test it out and compare it to that previous Hi-Capa. All right, no more messing around. It's CO2 pistol time. Damn!
Yeah, you can see the recoil.
How crazy CO2 pistols are. Let's see how it does. Woo!
No, not that hot.
Damn, it turned off the chronograph. It shoots so hard. CO2 ain't no joke.
Shit firing that hard.
Damn, it did it again.
It's good consistency. I've had CO2s that have dropped off like that.
Yeah.
Why the chronograph would turn off from firing too hot. I had that issue with a similar chronograph actually in one of my videos recently. And I think the battery was dying, but it says he's got 2 battery bits here. And I don't know why the chrono would turn off from a high FPS rating.
Consistent results than that gas-solid pistol. Damn, that kickback is nice. 50 feet headshot test.
Fresh CO2.
But now 100 feet away, let's see if this thing can still do well. Definitely makes it a little bit more inconsistent with that crazy hard kickback, but definitely way more fun to shoot.
Love the scope cam on the bottom of it.
150 feet,
this
this is
like
where it's going to be a
flashlight.
little more tricky for this one. Ooh. Again, not the easiest with this win, but the overall performance of the hop-up is pretty damn good. Doing my live results for this one, I'd say this one's probably the more fun one to own. Shoots more FPS, and that kickback is just definitely way more fun to shoot. But of course, if you want a platform you want to build off of and you want just a tiny bit more performance, I think the Hi-Capa is probably the one to go with. But if you're not planning on modding your pistol, you just want a fun sidearm, I'd probably go with this bad boy.
Cool looking
Overall,
one.
Nothing really to complain about with this
I like
pistol.
the OD green
Everything
and the
just
black.
shot really solid, just barely outranking the last pistol. But they're both very close in performance. Overall, ranking this one a 20 out of 25 stars.
With this next Airsoft gun, things are spicing
M249.
up. Ooh, we got a little anthill right here. Just another day on the job for these guys. Not sure if those are fire ants or normal ants, so I'm gonna try to do this very quickly. Next up, we have the biggest box of the video.
I've had one of these before.
Some quality concerns with the box breaking apart. We did already cut the tape, so let's just get straight into this and see what we got. Pretty basic box, just cardboard and some foam protecting this bad boy. Damn, this guy looks crazy
Chunky.
in person. And I might be getting bit in my foot by some fire ants right now. All right, we all got a job to do, everybody. We got to cooperate. As you'll see right away too, we have a box mag included, and these actually aren't too cheap either. Ooh. Damn. All right, well, I go to the gym, but I'm no Alphonse, so for me, this is definitely pretty heavy. That's actually crazy heavy. Oh my god, I almost just dropped this.
Give it
To
the
no
ants.
surprise, not only is this thing huge, but so is the price tag. This is the Cybergun / A&K FN license M249, and it knocks all of the other airsoft guns price tags out of the park at the most expensive
700.
in the video by a huge margin. This one comes in at $509
500.
and has a crazy 318 reviews
not crazy
with
for
a
an airsoft
5-star
gun.
rating. Setting this M249 apart from its competition is a FN full metal license receiver, barrel assembly, feed cover, and bipod.
But
Pairing
it's
those metal
electric.
parts with the heavy-duty nylon fiber reinforced stock, handguard, and motor grip definitely adds to the overall feel, making this one's externals definitely feel the most high quality in the video so far. And don't worry, Cybergun and A&K also gave some love to the internals. They are updated internals allowing you to use higher discharge rate batteries, without the worry of premature wear in the internals, with a reinforced metal gearbox shell and 8mm bearings, and as well as a heavy-duty steel gear set. And of course, we can't skip by that insane 2,400 round sound activated box magazine. I've definitely seen some mixed reviews about this box mag, so let's see how it actually works. One delivery for Big Boy up next. Let's see how this guy chronographs.
I have the VFC gas blowback one of these, which I've yet to do like a lot of content on, but I really like that. With these, I can see they have a place, but also just the electric nature of it for me just kind of is, you know, like with this, it's like that performance, maybe not the mag capacity, even with the mag capacity, but like unlike in real steel, like an LMG, the great thing, or an HMG, as this is called, the great thing is that you can put out a ton of rounds and it's built to just constantly go at full auto. Whereas in real steel, like AR, etc., it's not supposed to. The barrel's going to overheat. It's going to actually break. So with airsoft, you don't have that, and you can have 200 round mid cap. So with this, it's like, yes, it's cool for the look, but there is no real tactical advantage, in my opinion. You may think different.
Well, first,
But in gas blowback air, it kind of is.
start off with a 9.6 volt and then go to a lipo and see what this guy could really do.
These are all firing hot. That sounds awful. Screeching.
Sorry for the crazy screech. I'm just trying to do semi-automatic, even though this thing doesn't even have semi-automatic.
Oh, is that why? I was thinking, does it sound like the battery's
It
dead?
looks to be pretty consistent, only dropping a few FPS or going up a few FPS every round. But now let's go for the full auto, what really matters. Alright, about what I expected, about 10 rounds a second. Now let's try to spice it up, throw in 11.1 and see what this one can really do. Let's get this bread. Damn.
And that's probably what you'd want.
Alright, definitely having some inconsistencies. Let's go ahead and put some more BBs in. No! Yeah, those do that a lot.
I think the chrono's just having trouble reading it, because it's saying like 6. Sounds about
Looks
15.
like we're getting about 15 to 16 rounds a second. Pretty sure the box mag isn't really made to keep up with that RPS. And shortly after this, the box mag stopped working. So we're just gonna use a normal M4 magazine, unfortunately. Yeah, this is just a little embarrassing with this M4 mag, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'd say headshots are not a hard thing for this one at 75 feet. Maybe a 100-foot headshot test will give it a little bit more of a challenge. Not really. So it's doing pretty damn good still. 150 feet, let's see what this guy's got.
Look at that wind taking them across. The noise is awful.
Not a
awful
issue
noise.
for this bad boy. We are basically maxing out the hop up, so this is pretty much the max range right now.
Pointless charging handle move. It also sprung back, which is not really supposed to do that.
Almost 200 feet away, very good shots. And it's not really for accuracy or range particularly, but doing its job at about 175 to 200 feet away, it's definitely not too bad. And the RPS is just enough to keep your enemy suppressed.
But you can do that with a regular AEG. That's my point.
And the final ratings for the M249. A lot of the scores aren't a surprise. This guy did pretty fantastic at most of the stuff. Overall, a little bit of inconsistency with the magazine, definitely knocked it down a point for the quality, but the main thing I did knock this thing down for was the value. This guy is super expensive, and you can definitely get way cheaper airsoft guns that shoot basically the same performance. But if you want to get a super nice replica of an M249 that's full metal, you're definitely gonna have to pay the price. Overall, giving this one a 19 out of 25.
Last but certainly not least, we have the grand finale in today's video. This is the S&T/Matrix Sportline CQB-R. I was definitely expecting all positive things with this airsoft gun out of the box with all those crazy
Sportline
views.
though, cheap.
This one has 464 views to be exact. Of course with a 5-star rating, and surprisingly comes in at a budget friendly $180. So versus that last airsoft gun, definitely a little bit more realistic for most people. So I was a little bit concerned when I found out about this little quality control issue when we started to unbox it. But in the box, it looks like we have this guy with some
So it's been shipped from abroad, obviously, because it's got the orange tape in it. That orange flash hider looks like you can remove it. My worry is that that rail is polymer, and it's going to feel very cheap and plastic.
Ugly orange compliant tape as always.
Get off my finger!
Overall, for a first impression, it doesn't feel that bad. Oh,
there we go.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Feels like I've watched that before.
I spoke too soon. Normally I wouldn't think that's a huge issue, but the only thing is you could easily spin this to the right and it'll fall off, but if you get it back lined up, the Picatinny mount rail on the actual rail system itself will be lined up at first with the actual rail system on the upper receiver, but if you really want to get it tight, you're gonna actually have to like twist it past where they're actually aligned. So definitely not a
you be able to
big
touch the
quality
nut separately?
indicator right there. Yikes. This one now I'm pretty...
So my fix with that would be an extended like rail mount. You know, you can get those risers that are very, very long and very, very low, and you could try and stretch it from across that back receiver all the way onto the front rail, so the upper receiver onto the front rail, and that would lock that in place. I've had that happen with a couple of other replicas, not cheap like this, but
pretty conflicted about. Will it perform very well and make up for those weird external quirks? Or is this foreshadowing on how the performance is also? But before we go on to the performance to see if this is a huge letdown or is a very awesome airsoft gun, let's keep hyping this one up by talking about some of the other features. It has a Gen 3 LiPo ready gearbox from Matrix and S&T with a micro switch trigger and quick change spring guide, improved steel gears, full steel teeth piston, and aluminum cylinder. That's definitely a lot of good things on paper. I don't know, I'm not sold yet. Let's keep reading some features. It also has high strength nylon fiber reinforced polymer receiver, stock, buffer tube, and grip. It also has a free floating CNC metal 7-inch rail interface system. I love the marketing.
So it is CNC'd.
These websites, because it definitely makes this rail sound a little bit more fancy than it really is. And of course, at no surprise, comes with that 6-position collapsible M4 stock. And it comes with one of my favorite things outside of the box for an M4 is flip up front and rear iron sights. I'm very curious to see if this will disappoint us at the performance test. Let's go ahead and go to the chronograph room and then straight on to the shooting test to see how it does.
I've had some bad experience with Matrix branded products as well in the past, I have to say. Hi-Capa. Sounds a bit better than the other ones.
Ooh, that's nice. Perfect FPS for a CQB rifle. Normally I'd want rifles to be about that 375 plus mark, but this is basically a CQB-R, so it does make sense this is shooting below 350. So you could basically use this at any CQB field, at least where I live. And for the RPS, let's see how it does. Damn!
That's pretty fast.
That is no joke. 21.5 rounds a second. Making this one the
indoor field I play at, the RPS limit, you can't go higher than 30 rounds per second. So imagine that's 21. Now imagine what 30 is like.
Fastest shooting airsoft gun of the video. Will this thing continue to still impress us on the range, or will it be a disaster? Let's go find out. The trigger response is excellent with this thing. We finally got that Dean's wired 11.1 volt for this bad boy. Let's see what the headshot test is like.
So it is Dean's wired. See the hop's nice.
No issues. 100-foot headshot test. Yep, still pretty good. Yeah, this thing shoots lasers 150 feet away.
Still got horrible noise in that.
Yeah, that's definitely the most consistent one in the video by far. For 180 bucks, that is not bad.
Sorry, my kid just ran inside and thought I'd pause it. I mean, if I'm going to spend that though, I would just spend a bit more.
That's
and get
nice. But now here's where the fun and games
300.
end. 200 and about 35 plus feet away. Let's see how it does.
It's a good starter gun.
Damn. Got it. But especially for the FPS this guy has too.
See, imitating a British accent there.
Not bad whatsoever.
And now I bet you're all curious for the grand finale on what it scored. Here are the final stars. We got 5 in the FPS, 4.5 for the accuracy, 5 for the range, 3.5 for the quality because, you know, the rail, and 5 for the value. This was overall a really good airsoft gun for the price. Total score, 23 out of 25. The best one of the video. And if you are curious, here is the final leaderboard. I tried my best to score all the airsoft guns evenly, taking into account that they are different types of airsoft guns, but we're still trying to compare them against each other. So keep that in mind, these ratings aren't perfect. This is just a rough estimate on what I value them for testing them out. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Let me know if you agree with the final scores down below. If you guys want to see the first one of this series, here is that video right here. And if you want to watch one recommended by YouTube, here is that video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys.
Okay, so I think that was pretty good. Like, it's a bit of a different bit of content, guys, so I don't want to... Let me know if you don't want to watch this kind of stuff, because I do think it's quite interesting, probably having me as a more experienced airsoft player watching something like this. And actually, if I was a kid and I was like, oh, I just want to really get my first airsoft gun, and some guys going around and reviewing them, then it gives me some ideas of what to get. I can kind of see how things perform, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't think many experienced airsoft players are going to watch that and gain any info in any way. They're going to maybe be entertained. But this guy's good on camera. So Wag Entertainment, I'll put a link to this video down below and to his channel. So go and check him out. Does, I think, a couple of videos a week, or sorry, a couple of it, like a video a weekish kind of thing. And definitely has some massive views. Some of his videos get huge views and some really clever ideas. So let me know what you think of this video, guys. If you want me to do some more Wag Entertainment style or Wag Entertainment specific stuff, or if we should go back to just gameplay, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. I'll see you all soon. Bye.